in places like Venezuela. Whoa, way down. They've taken their street gangs and they brought them into the United States and they said, if you ever come back, you will die. We're going to kill you. That's what they tell them. So these are including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women, our girls. What they do to our families is outrageous. And my people told me, please, please don't say you're going to protect women. Women don't want you to say that. I said, really, why? This is my geniuses. These are the people we pay all this money to give you political advice. I said, why? Women don't want to be protected, sir. I said, really? I don't think so. They want to be attacked by MS-13. Is that what they want? They want MS-13 to go in and knock their door down and do bad things? No, I don't think so. I think women, I'm going to protect the women, I'm going to protect the children, and I'm going to protect the men. I'm going to protect everybody from these animals that have been unleashed into our country and from foreign powers. Look, I mean, is there any woman in the audience, please, that does not seek protection? Please raise your hand. Is there any woman in the audience that wants to be protected? I think so. Okay, let's fire those people, please. They're all fired. They meant well. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office, and she has set a record. And today I want you to hear something that's very disturbing. Everybody, I just came out, just was done. Everybody that's heard it, I've seen tough people, very tough men, literally crying, watching, and we just put it out just now. But I want you to hear it directly from a mother whose world has been shattered by the open borders insanity of Kamala Harris. Please.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah. We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with 2 men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration and our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter, she failed Jocelyn. She was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
There's just no reason for it. Thank you very much. No reason. There's no reason for that. Thank you very much. But there's no reason for that. Open borders, open borders. Anybody comes in, doesn't matter where you come from. They don't even know where they come from. They don't check them. They don't know where they come. Are they from jails? They don't know anything about them. They just let them pour into our country. It's incredible. Now she's sort of stopped it by doing just a little bit because she was getting killed in the polls. And if they ever won, they would open those borders and you would have millions and millions more people come in, and there'd be criminals. If I ran one of the countries that we're talking about, and over the last few months, it was 181 different countries. Most people don't even know there are that many. There are actually more. 181 countries were represented, and they're letting their criminals and their jails and everything into our country. They're destroying our country. They're destroying our country. And we can't take it any longer. We have to change. We have to change immediately. I think it's the biggest problem. I think it's bigger than the economy. I think it's bigger than inflation, because they're ruining the fabric of our country. You're not going to be able to walk out of your house no matter where you live. If you're in a farm, they're flying people in with the big Boeing jets, the biggest ones, and they're taking hundreds of them in. They're landing in the Midwest and all over the place. They're flying them right over the border. They're sick. The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. The savages charge with brutalizing and murdering precious Jocelyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, that's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America. You've read about them in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. They've taken over complexes. They've taken them away from landlords. They've told people to get out. They've told the people, you pay us the rent from now on. You don't pay it to a landlord. You don't pay it to a property owner. You pay it to us. They've even taken over Times Square. Take a look.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America.
It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
This is what we have coming into our country. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. We will not let this happen. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It'll be Liberation Day. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that's been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and MS-13 and all of these gangs that are now living happily in our country, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Can you believe that? To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement official. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America. With their open borders, they're going to destroy your Social Security and Medicare. They're going to destroy our health care, but I'm going to save it all, and I'm going to save our country. That's what we're going to do. These people are all signing up. Kamala's gross incompetence, she's a grossly incompetent person, disqualifies her from being president of the United States. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. To make her president would be to gamble with the lives of millions and millions of people. She would get us into World War III because she is too grossly incompetent to do the job. And then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting draft notices. They'll come, Mommy, Daddy, what does this mean? Son, even daughter, that means that you're going to be drafted to fight in a war against a country that you've never heard of. Congratulations, son. And it may be the last time you ever see them. We're not going to let that happen anymore in this country. Our enemies are laughing at her. If we win, America will be feared and respected again on issue after issue. Kamala broke it, and I will fix it, and I'll fix it quickly. On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden, which in itself is disqualifying. Take a look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Tren de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
There is not a thing that comes to mind. So maybe the worst thing that we can be talking about, 325,000 children that the press never talks about. 325,000 children have come into our country and they're now missing. They're going to be dead, or they're going to be sex slaves or slaves of some kind. 325,000 children, many of them are dead. And she said there's not a thing that comes to mind. You know, they just like she's a fraud. She's a total fraud. She's a liar. She even lied about McDonald's, didn't she, huh? But she's a total liar. They lied about 818,000 jobs that they said we built up over the course of their wonderful management. It turned out to be a total fraud. And they weren't going to announce that until after the election, but we had a whistleblower that called them in. You remember that just a few months ago, they said 1,818,000 jobs were created, and they weren't. They're fake jobs. And they were going to release the correct information. They were going to do a little deletion, and they were going to release it right after the election. But they got caught. We can't let ourselves be duped by these people. These are criminal people as far as I'm concerned. We're thrilled to be joined by representatives, and they're great warriors, and they're friends of mine, and they fight side by side. Congressman Richard Hudson. Richard, thank you very much. Great job he's doing. One of the most powerful people in Washington, a great congressman, Tom Emmer. Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. And another great friend is Byron Donalds. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. And you have a congressional candidate that I know is going to win. She's up in the polls. She's doing great. Lori Buckout. She's fantastic. And she's got my complete and total endorsement. And somebody that is a star, well, I'll let you know that on the 6th. Is that okay? But I think he's a star. North Carolina GOP Chair Jason Simmons. Jason, thank you. Great. So I also want to say hello to Keith Kellogg, General Kellogg. He's one of our really great generals. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Been with me right from the beginning, right? From day one. And my son-in-law, Michael. Michael is a fantastic young guy. I have to introduce him. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. I also want to send our prayers to everyone in North Carolina and other states still recovering from the hurricanes. If I win, we will get them and we will support you. You know, on January 20th, it's not too far away anymore. January 20th is when you take office. We'll have people here so much you will say, please, we got too many people. Get them out of here. We have too many people. We had great success with FEMA. And if you know, it would be amazing. It's been acknowledged that the hurricane rescue effort and rebuilding effort is the worst that we've just about ever seen, outside of maybe Katrina, but I think it's worse. There's nobody even here, and the devastation is incredible. And how the hell could you vote for somebody that's in charge of it, right? So I don't think you're going to vote for Kamala. Here are the facts. Kamala is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas herself. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week or 1 day is not worthy of being president of the United States. Kamala vowed to abolish ICE, our great heroes of ICE. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as totally nonviolent crimes. She pledged to confiscate your guns and endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. Would anybody in North Carolina want to give up your guns quietly? Oh. Oh, it could have had an impact on my hearing for the rest of my life. That's not going to be an easy job, is it? No, but that's where she comes from. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention at taxpayer expense. So in conclusion, with your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala and we're going to save America. Going to get her out. Going to get her out. Right? Come in. We're going to get her out. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to North Carolina where they belong. And I have a little personal favor that I'm going to do, North Carolina. I'm going to get your furniture builders and artists and manufacturers. We're going to bring them back. They left you for China. They're going to be coming back because this is where they want to be. I came down here so many times. I'd build a hotel. I said, I want to go to North Carolina. I came so much. I'd say, no, I like the arm to be a little bit on that chair, a little, bing, 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 bing. These guys were so good. And now you have just a fraction of what you had. You're the best in the world. I'd buy from China, and then they'd sit in a chair, and the chair would collapse, and I'd get sued. This is true. They'd sue me because the damn chair would break at a hotel. Mr. Jones would sit down. He's slightly overweight, like about 200 pounds. He'd sit in that chair, and the thing collapses. The next thing I know, sir, you've been sued by Mr. Jones of someplace. Now you built the greatest furniture in the world, and you're going to be doing it again. You're doing it a little bit, but you're going to be doing it again. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine. It would have never started if I were president. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. I will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We're going to take care of our police. We will strengthen and modernize our military. I rebuilt our military, and they gave a lot of it away to a place called Afghanistan in the most embarrassing moment of our country's life. We will build a missile defense shield massively. We are going to build the greatest, the biggest missile defense shield. A lot of it's going to be made right in the USA. It's all going to be made in the USA. It's going to be made right here, though, a lot of it. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., which is horribly run, which is filthy dirty, with graffiti all over columns and lions and everything else. And we're going to take care of our capital. We're going to make it beautiful and safe. We're not going to have people being killed there, but we're going to make our cities beautiful, clean, safe again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And we will get critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech. And I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, your Second Amendment. And I have everybody's endorsement, including the NRA, and always have had it. And it is under siege. Your Second Amendment is under siege. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will not be conquered. They are conquering us. They are conquering us from within. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope, and will be filled also with a thing called the American dream, something you don't hear about so much anymore. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. You need to get out and vote. That's all you don't have to give me money. You don't have to give me anything. Just go out and vote. Who has voted so far? Oh. Who is going to vote? Okay, get out. Every vote. Thank you very much. That's very impressive. For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. With your vote this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. Belongs to you guys. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 6 days from now, it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help from now until Election Day, 6 days, we will restore America's promise, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, North Carolina. Thank you. God bless you.